how I made this room look like this. Yes, I'm also using this empty room to shoot the talking head scene because I am too lazy to set up something somewhere else. Okay, so I'm shooting a video and one of the scenes is a montage of me editing a video, and instead of using the same room that I normally edit in that I've been using for a while now, I've decided that I was gonna look in the house for an empty room that I can totally start from scratch. I can design a totally new room to edit in. I don't like the way this light is positioned, so I'm gonna move it. Made it bigger. Okay, I kind of like this, so this is what we're going for. I changed it. Continuity ruined. Okay, so there are 4 things that are going to mainly build up the scene. There's going to be props, which is any object that the actor interacts with. And then there's going to be set dressing, which is everything that builds the scene that the actor does not interact with. So for example, a chair in the background, or a photo in the background, or a clock, or a table, or a plant, anything that kind of dresses the scene up and builds it for what it is. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a bit of a mess that I need to clean up before I can actually start. I might actually leave this cupboard here because I'm going to use it for books probably, but then everything else I'm just going to clear away. I'm going to keep these shelves, but I'm probably going to get rid of all this stuff. Oh my god. Okay, that took a bit longer than I thought it was going to take. Yeah, so the room is basically empty. I have the shelf which I want to keep. But overall, I think I'm now going to start populating the scene. I'm going to probably start with the table because that's the biggest object, and then I'm going to start, spitballing more or less where I'm going to put things. Yeah. Oh my god. I'll just have to go with it. Imagine cool things on this table and a laptop. As you can see, this is not the table surface that I want, so I'm probably going to try and find a cloth or something to cover this up. This is the pain of experimentation. So I realized that I don't really like covering the table up at all with any cloth. So I'm going to bring in another table that's made out of wood. Oh my god. No. I'm fine. As you can see here, this table is very thin. I wanted to add like props and stuff to make it interesting, like I said before. But I don't know if I'll be able to fit everything on here. I might have to just figure something out. But yeah, this is the table we're going for. Always got to have a lamp. My mother's plant. I'll be taking good care of it, don't worry. So I've decided I'm probably going to mainly shoot this way instead of towards the table. As you can see here, I'm probably going to switch around and shoot mainly this way against the light. And I'm going to have light streaming through those windows over there. Because it's more simple, I'm constricting the scene. And then I'll just have a lot of different shots tightly onto the different elements of the subject, of the actions that's happening. I was also thinking when it comes to set dressing, I was thinking of surrounding the subject or me with elements of creativity. So like books, so like a typewriter that I have, you can see here. Even like an old camera if I decide to use it, DVDs, or anything that just surrounds the character with inspiration, that kind of stuff. And coming back to the color of these walls, I don't know exactly what the color is, but it's kind of like a greenish turquoise kind of look, which is good because I am going for kind of a green feel to the overall predominant color I want. If I can in the scene is going to be green, and then for me as a character I want to have a red to symbolize passion and inspiration. It's a lot of moving things around. It's a lot of experimentation. You start to even like question yourself, thinking am I even good at what I'm doing because I'm making so many mistakes, I'm not really happy with what I'm getting. But you just have to keep going and keep iterating and experimenting, and then you'll probably get something good. Okay, so overall I decided to go a bit more simplistic. Here's a pile of things that kind of will make more sense on the side view. We'll hopefully get to that. Here's more for the front. As you can see, there's this plant that adds texture. There's the books that are predominantly green and red, and there's some stuff on the top. There's a film camera there, for the creativity. Here's the minimalist desk setup. Before I decide to add any more props or anything, I'm going to lock down the lighting just so I can see if I can get away with what I have at the moment. The two most important is going to be your camera angles, and it's going to be your lighting. That's going to be very important to kind of build the scene. Okay, so for lighting we have a pretty basic setup. We have the Godox SL60 watt as usual with barn doors and a yellow color filter. That's obviously to simulate daylight. As you can see, it filters through the window. It gets softened by these curtains. Let me just walk up and show you. They have quite nice texture, and that also adds to the overall effect. And then in the lamp we have the Aperture MC. So you can see here, Aperture MC. It's controlled by the app Sidious link. And then we have the shaping of this light that is obviously kind of implied to come from here, but not really. As you can clearly see, there's not as many lines to shape this, but I kind of wanted to add more shape, and I kind of chose to sacrifice the realism in place of texture. I always love texture in the background. It adds so much more to the frame. As you can see, the shaping of the leaves, the books, the lighting, everything is here to add shape to the back, and the shaped lighting is coming from this over here. Obviously, as you can see here, I'll put some b-roll of before when I showed how I used this. I inserted a gobo, as you can see here, with a yellow filter. This curtain is in the way and it's probably going to cause some heating issues, but for now I'm just going to leave it like this. There's some film here to add the the red and yellow accents that I wanted. There's the green or turquoise creamy typewriter. There's the green book, and now all that's left is to add the final layer of ambience, which is the atmospheric haze or smoke, and that kind of ties everything together and hopefully gives it that soft dreamy look that I wanted to go for. Also, I've decided to use the same method as I did in another video where I used a C stand to get the light on the background and on my face. Okay, so when creating an entire scene from scratch, it's not like a real room. You want to have shots that convince the viewer. So you would normally do that with an establishing shot where you showcase and establish the location as a location. Here's the lighting source, here's the confines of the world. So when creating a set or when creating a scene, keep that in mind. What do you want to constrict the viewer to see? And as you can see here with me, I kind of just wanted them to be immersed in this little room that I've created. So we have these two establishing shots, then we get a medium close-up, then we get a close-up. We have some insert shots of the character's actions, so you can see my mouse moving, what I'm doing, so you can see the cause and effects. You can see the mouse moving, you can see me selecting shots, dragging it into the timeline. And then there's also what I like to call accent shots, which is shots that give you the feel of the environment and really allow the viewer to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of your scene. So as you can see here with the curtains, with the glass of water, with the light leaking through, and you can see me working in the background with this shot here by the camera. This is less of an establishing shot and more of an accent shot. I really like adding these accent shots throughout my short films and my videos. I like to take these shots as an option for me in the editing room to kind of give that feel to the viewer.
Oh, hey, Mr. Golden Frame didn't get the time to make an outro, so I said I'll come over and make it for him. So, yeah. Alright, bye.